Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 7 of TrackWrestling.com's Blue Chip Recruiting Podcast. I'll be your host, Eric Olanowski, and we've made it 7 episodes. I know I read somewhere on Twitter that Blood Round found a stat that it was most podcasts don't last to 12 episodes, so we're trying to get there. Currently on episode number 7, and you'll hear from two-time state champion, 3-star inside linebacker out of Indiana, Mason Parris, later on in the episode. And this is a guy, he's a big guy. So I always say the 2 toughest guys to recruit in college wrestling are going to be 125-pounders, because those guys continue to grow in heavyweights because they either go play football, and this is a prime example of a guy looking to try and figure out what he wants to do. He's fielding offers for wrestling, and in his spare time fielding offers for football. So he's a guy who is a 3-star inside linebacker, as I mentioned, 2-time state champion, and he doesn't know what he wants to do, still up in the air. So he's having guys like Tony Roby, Angel Escobedo from in-state Indiana. He's fielding offers to try and figure out what his future is going to be. Is it going to be wrestling? Is it going to be football? And that July 1st date came, and he's one of those guys like, it's at the barbershop. Please take a number to get yourself a seat in Mason Parris's living room. And one thing that I like about doing these podcasts and talking to all these guys is I learn a lot from them. You know, you hear the dedication, the drive that they have at such a young age, and it's pretty inspiring. And one thing to me, I asked Mason, and you'll hear later on in the episode, I asked him, you know, do you get more recruiting trips, official visits, because you usually get 5 official visits for one sport, and you would think that the NCAA would be lenient enough to give these guys that are multi-sport athletes a couple more visits. But for Mason, coming out on his own dime, his own time, he has to go himself and go on these unofficial visits. So you see, if you're looking at his social media account, you're seeing trips to Princeton. You're seeing trips to the University of Michigan. All of these trips are, you know, on his own dime because they're not official visits. So he's saving all of these official visits for wrestling, and hopefully that means that we're going to have this guy stay in wrestling. You hope that he stays in wrestling, but if he goes football, you know he's going to be successful anywhere he goes. Just from this interview, I realized the drive and the determination. And I mentioned that he's a multi-sport athlete. He's not just a football player. He's not just a wrestler. This guy was in the state finals for track as well. So 3 state finals in 3 different sports. And he's not doing the shot put. He's running the hurdles at 225, 230 pounds. How impressive is that? And we jumped into, with episode 6, the news of Justin Mejia leaving Illinois. He recently committed to the University of Iowa. So if you recall, Justin Mejia committed to the University of Iowa, and then you have Gavin Teasdale committing to Iowa. So you have Justin Mejia decommitting to Iowa, committing to Illinois. And as we learned on episode number 6, Justin had ran into some application issues and was unfortunately not admitted to Illinois. So he follows the likes of Mark Perry over to Iowa to become a Hawkeye for the second time. So they're going to lock him up. And other news, you have Anthony Madrigal out of Oak Park River Forest committing to Oklahoma. And you ask yourself, what are you getting in a 126-pounder for Madrigal? He's a guy that is not afraid to let you get on his legs, and it's promising to see that he has the defensive capabilities for a big-time wrestler. He's been in big-time matches, and what he can do is he can scramble his butt off, and it is fun to watch him scramble. The one thing that I would prefer him to do is, instead of having that scramble first mentality, look to get your hips back, look to get your feet dragging on the mat, and try and get to your sprawl before you get to that scramble position. But, I mean, if all else fails and you get to that second line of defense and you find somebody cut in the corner, Anthony Madrigal is a guy that continues to score points when guys get to the corner, so it's good to see that. Great on his feet. Oh, I mentioned from a defensive standpoint. From an offensive standpoint, he can get to that blast double. I mean, he can get to shots, and I like to see that he can get to it from an open position. But when the match breaks down and you need to get to a tie, can he do it? Yes, he can. He's been coached at a high level, so he's only going to continue to improve under the tutelage of Lou Roselli at Oklahoma. So they got themselves, and you're going to see him probably 133, 141. Was a 26-pounder, but he'll continue to grow. He'll continue to get on a nice workout plan at Oklahoma. And one last thing before we jump into the episode with Mason Parris, I'm going to tweet out I'm blanking on the guy's name right now, but it's pretty funny if you're on Twitter. He's been putting out Legos. He's been painting Legos. He has a mat that he built for Legos, and he paints them. So he's done Mark Schultz, Dave Schultz. He's done Kenny Monday. He's done Kyle Snyder. So it's pretty funny to see how creative these fans are getting. The passion is bleeding through, and now it's bleeding through two Legos. So I'll tweet his name out so you guys can go check out some of that because it's pretty cool. Well, without further ado, let's jump into episode number 7 of TrackWrestling.com's Blue Chip Recruiting Podcast.
And we'd now like to welcome in two-time Indiana State champion in wrestling and 3-star inside linebacker Mason Parris. Mason, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's great to have me.
Yeah, I'm excited. We'll start with, it's July 2nd, so I want to thank you for giving some time because judging by your social media accounts, your doorbell's been ringing, your phone's been ringing. So first, let's start with how has that been for you since July 1st?
It's been pretty busy, but it's definitely an exciting time in my life. Had all these coaches. I get to see all these coaches and talk to all these coaches and hopefully help me make my college decision. So it's actually pretty exciting.
So I mentioned you're a 3-star inside linebacker, and a lot of people are questioning, are you looking to wrestle in college? Are you looking to play football? Are you looking to do both? At this point, what are you looking for?
Well, I'm not really sure yet exactly what I'm going to do yet. Doing both is definitely an option, but we'll have to see what I end up choosing.
So, and how does it work? So you have 5 official visits for wrestling. Do you also have 5 official visits for football?
No, it's just 5 total.
Really? So that has to be difficult for you. So do you take a lot of unofficials?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've seen that you were at the Big House. You were at Princeton. Where have you taken your official visits?
I haven't took any official visits yet. It doesn't start till September, but I got 5 lined up for me.
Okay, and can you let us know where those 5 are going to be, or is that still up in the air?
Some of them are still up in the air.
Okay. So I'm from the state of Michigan, and I've covered football for the University of Michigan. So I've been to the Big House. How awesome was that?
It was definitely cool seeing all that and definitely being there. I've seen it on TV a bunch of times and heard some great stuff about it, but it was awesome to see it in person. Right,
so much history there. You're like, man, for sure. Could you imagine over 15, 20,000 people in the stands?
Yeah.
So, couple days ago, as I mentioned, July 1st, first home visits. So from your social media, you had Indiana and Virginia Tech. You had Golden and Escobedo and Tony Roby there. Let's start with Indiana. You're an Indiana guy. Seeing Escobedo, a guy who has succeeded at the highest level in our sport, being from wrestling for Indiana. What was that like seeing him in your living room and him telling you that, you come to Indiana, you're going to be able to succeed. I've done it.
Yeah, it was definitely cool meeting him. He's a great guy, and I've known a lot about him since I was a kid, knowing that he wrestled in Indiana and he was from Indiana. And then it was great to see him that he came onto the coaching staff at IU.
Yeah, was that? I mean, did that intrigue you? You see Coach Simmons leaving, and it's unfortunate that he had to leave. But Escobedo coming on, and you see him. What were your initial thoughts when you heard that Coach Escobedo was coming back to the program?
Well, I definitely thought that he's definitely going to be a big part of the program and help it out a lot.
And Coach Tony Roby, Ty Walls, the big guy at Virginia Tech. You're a big guy yourself. What was the conversation like with Coach Roby?
It went really well. He told me that Ty Walls is going to be one of the volunteer coaches, so he's going to stick around, and if I go there, he's going to help me. He's going to be my practice partner, so that's pretty exciting about that.
And a big guy like yourself, that has to be pretty awesome to hear with Ty Walls. I mean, he's always been one of my favorite guys to wrestle. I always say Ty Walls is a big guy stuck in little guy's shoes. So yeah. I mean, that's how you like to wrestle. Get on the offense. So that would be a perfect training partner. Are there any other home visits that you've received that you haven't posted online?
Well, last night Princeton was supposed to come, but their flight ended up getting delayed till it actually ended up getting canceled altogether. So they're going to come next week, and then Michigan's coming today. Okay,
great. So, yeah, once again, thank you for giving us some time. So you've already been to Virginia Tech, you've been to Princeton, you've been to Michigan. What exactly are you looking for in a school?
I'm definitely looking for good academics. Right now, I'm still not completely sure, but I'm thinking about civil engineering. So I got to make sure they have a pretty good program for that.
And your offers in football, I mean, they include Eastern Michigan, Army, Navy, Colgate, Southern Illinois, Indiana State, and that's something that, I mean, you're proud to say you're a 3-star inside linebacker, 2-time state champion. What would you say is your ultimate achievement? Because you've achieved so much, but what is the ultimate achievement that you feel really defines you?
Currently what I've done in the past, all the wrestling stuff is just really exciting because it's an individual sport. And then this year for football, we made it to the state finals, and that was really exciting too. So that was good for me, the team.
And I mean, achieving the highest level takes a lot of time management, a lot of discipline. What's your biggest challenge keeping everything in line? How do you do it?
Well, you definitely have to have good time management because I play 3 sports and I have to do school too, so that's pretty difficult. So it's just all about how you have to manage your time and prioritize stuff.
And what other sport do you play? You say 3 sports.
I do track too.
Jeez Louise, so you're in every season.
Yeah.
So you're doing something, so you don't have a lot of, that's impressive. And I'm sure that college coaches love to see that dedication from you, understanding that, you as a young guy taking all that time to really stay dedicated and disciplined, that's something that I guarantee college coaches are eating up. Would you say, what's your best sport do you think that you're best at?
Probably wrestling.
Wrestling? And you have no desire to run track or participate in track in college?
Well, this year I made it to the state finals for track too. So I made it in 3 sports this year, which was pretty cool. But I run hurdles and throw shot put. But I don't think I really have a desire to do that in college.
Okay. And are you looking to wrestle heavyweight in college?
Yeah.
So you're going to be a heavyweight. You know that recent top seniors came out, and a lot of publications have you top 2. There's one other guy that's standing in your way from being number 1. What would it be like to wrestle Gable Steveson for the number 1 spot? Would that be something that you would look forward to?
Yeah, I think it would be a pretty good match. He's a great opponent, and he's done some really crazy stuff, won a lot of stuff, and he's pretty big. He's like a real heavyweight, and I'm still kind of like a 220, so have to gain some weight and definitely do a lot of work for that.
So is that what you walk around at? Is around 220?
Yeah. Well, I'm about 230.
Excuse me?
I found about 230.
230. Okay. Is that your ideal playing? I know for football they want to keep you at around a certain weight. Do you want to get bigger, or are you looking to stay right around that 230 range?
I'm thinking about trying to get a little bit bigger, up to 240.
Okay. And for wrestling, 2-time state champion, but I'm sure with a guy like yourself, you haven't got to where you are today looking at the small stuff and the stuff you do good. What can you do better to improve on in wrestling?
Well, I think I definitely have to improve on everything. I know I still got like a lot of work with playing 3 sports. If I still don't have much time to like focus on like every like little thing I have to do, so definitely need to work on that. So then if I wrestle year round, I think that'll definitely help me out.
So have you put your focus more on wrestling in the past year? Because, it seems that, you were always on the scene, but this year it's just, even throughout the past 6 months, you've taken your wrestling to the next level. So what do you attribute that to?
Well, all I really used to do is wrestle in dual tournaments, kind of like for teams, and never really did any individual tournaments. Slow was probably my first individual tournament, really, in high school, a big one that I did. So. Yeah,
and you're just, you're not, you are handing good guys, like, devastating losses. Some of these guys, it's like, it's not even fair. So are you going to continue to wrestle in these individual tournaments to get more exposure?
Yeah, and then I'm still going to do some dual tournaments.
Okay. Well, I know you got a very busy day, so I don't want to keep you too long. Where can our fans follow you on social media? Because I know that you have been – it's something that people should follow because you're posting stuff left and right. Every other tweet is I got an offer from here, I got a coach here. So where can everyone follow you on social media?
You can follow me on Twitter at Parris58, and then on my Instagram at Mason_Parris.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to let our fans know before you get out of here?
No, I just want to thank you for your time in interviewing me.
Yeah, no problem. And I just, for everybody here at Track Wrestling, we want to wish you the best of luck. You have the toughest thing to do in wrestling is to get a 285 or a 125. 125, the guys get too big, and then 285, everyone plays football. So I speak for everybody in the sport of wrestling. We hope that you pick wrestling, but whatever you do, good luck. And that's all I have for you. So thank you for taking your time out, and good luck with the University of Michigan today.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So that has been it for episode number 7 of TrackWrestling.com's Blue Chip Recruiting Podcast. I've been Eric Olanowski. For Mason Parris, we are signing off. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This show is part of the Matt Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, head over to MattTalkOnline.com.